As we continue marking International Women's Month, of course, the 8th of March was the official day. We want to speak to what it means to be a black woman leader in your field. My next guest describes herself as a creative communicator, a writer, strategist, and of course, entrepreneur. Sibulele Siko-Shosha is the creative director, founder, and chief executive officer of the Dumile Group. She joins me now via Skype to discuss the experiences that shaped her success. A very good afternoon to you, Sibulele, and thank you so much for your time. So, why are you a woman leader? I don't know if I'm asking the question properly, but why is wanting to be a leader so important to you, especially in a white-dominated industry?
Hi, and thanks for having me. You asked the question correctly and incorrectly. I don't think women leadership is a choice. I think every woman is brave enough to want to swim against the tide, if you want to call it that. It's important because we are examples of how future generations can perceive themselves, and also showing the same generation that, there's no need for you to box yourself as a woman, no matter what personal or career choice you choose.
What does it mean to you to be a leader? You are an entrepreneur, you are a founder of Dumile Group, you are a creative, something that, unfortunately, and I speak as somebody who's been in the advertising industry, unfortunately we don't see a lot of, black women who are creatives and who are successful and who have now gone on to do what you are doing, being a creative director, a founder of a company, a chief executive of a company. What does being a leader mean to you?
It means living authentically and not sugarcoating the truth. I think leaders before me, and I'm not judging them for that, always push the perception first of the realities about, firstly, being in this industry, and also secondly, being a female leader. I think this day and age does not have the space or the time or the capacity to entertain perception pushing, but rather authentic living. It's a tough industry. It's a tough economic climate. So it's an opportunity, and there are platforms such as this where, as entrepreneurs and female leaders, we need to have authentic, real, and vulnerable conversations about the true meaning of entrepreneurship and leadership, because we also have to be in a position of inspiring from a place of truth. And I think that's the lesson that I've learned over my 13 years in the industry, is that, sometimes you just have to park the perception and be an authentic, true leader by being honest about your experience.
Sibulele, I'm sure you would have, been aware and came across, South Africans celebrating Melusi Mhlungu, who is the first South African, I think, to, at least first black South African to have an ad of his being flighted in halftime at Super Bowl. We celebrated him and we were very proud of him, but you would imagine that him being male, it would have been easier for him to crack it into something like that. But of course, he's one of the first, if not the first, black male to have achieved something like that. And yet we are still struggling to get black women to even crack it here at home. So what is it going to take to have a Sibulele having her ad at halftime at Super Bowl the same way Melusi did?
Sibulele will have her halftime ad soon, hopefully. It's going to take, again, I'll go back to just having authentic engagements, even with clients. Just be real with who you are and what you'd like to achieve as a business. And also the challenge of being a black and a female entrepreneur is that you're not just representing yourself and your business, you're representing a whole community, communities at other instances. So it's very important to articulate that, and also just be upfront and I know it sounds cliche, but there's a great element of bravery that goes into being consistent and pushing against the tide, as I had said earlier on. You also need the support of men. You also need the support of the boys' clubs. You also need, so it's a collaborative effort that needs an authentic understanding, and also we need to have a clear direction as to how South Africa sees black creatives, firstly, and secondly, how they embrace them for them to thrive. And Failure is a huge thing that I'm focusing on this year, because no one tends to prepare entrepreneurs and female entrepreneurs for the realities of failure, and also put them in a position where they understand the different types of failure that are available. So there needs to be a support system. There needs to be real and authentic engagement, so that a Sibulele could have an ad on such a prestigious platform in the near future.
And just before I let you go, Sibulele, I want to ask this question and broaden it, and not just, keep it to advertising and the challenges a black woman faces in the advertising industry. I want to ask it just in general. Is it grandstanding that perhaps we as media and just the society does, where celebration of women only happens in March, in the week of March, the week of the 8th of March, and then again in the week of the 9th of August? Is it seen as though this is just grandstanding and women are only celebrated in isolation, in just, patches and pockets here or there? And how do we then go about ensuring that these kinds of conversations are had outside of March and August, which are women's months?
Absolutely, it is grandstanding, and I find it very special that my segment is after, is during the memorial of Karima Brown, because it was Karima who gave me my first opportunity as a journalist. It took Karima to believe in me and say, look, you're a great writer, but you're not being given the platform. And she didn't do it in March, she didn't do it in August. I think it was around about July. So I think we need to stop the grandstanding, and also stop using women and the emancipation socially or economically as a PR gimmick. If you can give Dumile Group an opportunity in January, you can do it in March, you can do it in August. So hence me saying that there's a great need for a platform where we can all be on a level playing field and just try to authentically push for change, because right now anything that's got to do with female empowerment is PR based. There's a campaign attached to it. The growth of my agency should not be linked or connected to a campaign that only happens twice a year. It should be based on the experience. It should be based on my potential. It should be based on what I can actually achieve and what I actually can do. And I have had a 13-year track record as a business owner, survived, I've survived many international financial crises, including COVID. So those are the opportunities that women need to push for and have conversations about beyond the PR platforms such as International Women's Month and Women's Day.
Thank you so much for your time, Sibulele, this afternoon. That is the Creative Director, the Founder and the Chief Executive Officer of the Dumile Group, Sibulele Siko-Shosha.